This tutorial is really intended for people who are new to Blender and are kind of wondering what edit mode is in Blender. If you're new to Blender, then you've probably been working in object mode, which is the mode you're in when you start Blender. It's the mode you're looking at here right now on the screen, and it's the mode that allows you to add and select mesh objects like this cube. You can also move them around in this mode, and you can also give them materials and textures in object mode. Edit mode is a special mode that allows you to enter into an object like this if you want, and then mess around with the parts of that object. There are three parts that make up a mesh object: vertices, edges and faces. All of these are selectable in edit mode. There's also a fourth type of element which we'll deal with later. But first, let's have a look more closely at these main three. As you can see, I've added a cube here, and with this cube selected, I'm going to switch on edit mode down here, and then just over to the right here are three buttons. These buttons allow you to choose which type of element you want to select, and the first button allows you to select vertices. Vertices are points where the corners of the mesh join together, like you can see here, right on the corners of this cube. There's a kind of black point there. These are vertices, and when this button is active, like it is now, I can select a single vertex and move it around. So if I click on a vertex there, I can actually drag it and move it around like this. I can also hold down the Shift key and select several vertices at the same time, and I can move those around in a group like that. So that's vertices. The second button down here, Edge Select, this allows you to select edges in the same way, and this is an edge, and this is an edge, and there's another one. So I'll just undo those. And the third button down here allows you to select faces. Faces are flat, two-dimensional objects that can be moved, rotated and scaled, and there's a face, and I can move that, and it almost has the effect of scaling the object in the z-axis. I'm actually moving the face, and by so moving the face I'm stretching the rest of the object, because the face is attached to these other polygons here. If I rotate it, I can give this twisted effect. And finally I can scale it. For example, I can scale it in the x-axis like this. I can scale it in the y-axis. Or perhaps the best technique to scale something like this is to press S on the keyboard, and you can scale it with a mouse like this. Whoops. If you press escape, it cancels it. So S, and then you can scale. If you want to apply what you see on the screen, then just press enter. When you are able to select faces like this, you can do lots of things with them. For example, you can give them specific materials or use them with certain tools like the Extrude tool. Over here on the Tools window are some Extrude buttons. And if I take Extrude Individual, for example, and start moving the mouse up, you see what's happening? I'll press enter to apply that. Not only has it moved the face up like it did when I moved it earlier, but this time it's created an extra row of faces around it. It's created some new geometry, and that's what Extrude does. It creates new geometry, and you can use it to build up box models. I'll do another one like this, and then I'll do one in this direction. Look, press enter each time to apply it, and that's a technique which you can use to build up box type models. Okay, let's have a look at another quick example. In this example I'm going to make a simple plant pot, and I'm going to make that from a cylinder. So the first step there would be to add a mesh object, a cylinder. I'm just going to put that in the center of the screen. For some reason it's not in the center, so I'll just adjust the location so it's in the center. I'll also scale it a bit. I'll use S to do that, so it's a bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. Press enter to apply that, and finally I'll go to edit mode. And now we're in edit mode, and I need to select faces from these three buttons down here and click on the top face there, and again I'm going to press S, and I'm going to start scaling that to make the inverted cone shape of a plant pot, and press enter to apply that. For the next step I need to create some more geometry, and for that I'm going to use this extrude button again, extrude individual, and I'll just move the mouse upwards and create this extra layer of geometry there. That'll do, I don't need to go any more than that. Press enter to apply it. I'm going to press S again now and move the mouse to scale that down a little bit, and press enter when I'm done. And the final step is to just grab that Z axis there and move the plane down into the plant pot. And what that does, that creates an inner surface for the plant pot here, and it also creates this flat surface down here that we can pretend is the soil inside the plant pot. Next I'm going to smooth the sides of this plant pot, but before that I need to come out of edit mode and back into object mode. As you can see, the sides are not very smooth. You can see that they're faceted. Problem is, if I click on the smooth button here, it applies the smoothing to the entire object. It's trying to smooth the sides of the side of the plant pot with the base of a plant pot. It's trying to smooth all the way around here on the inside. It's trying to smooth the inside with the surface of the soil, which is impossible. There are some edges that we wanted to keep, and we didn't want it to look like this. Fortunately, there's a tool that we can use to solve this problem, and it works nearly all the time. 99% of the time it'll solve the problem for you. And it's actually a modifier. Now I know some of you may not have used modifiers yet, so don't worry about what this is. Just remember the procedure. And what we do is we go to the modifier tab up here, that's the one with a little spanner on it, and we click on add modifier, and we click on something called edge split. Ta-da! It solves the problem. Okay, so finally we'll finish off the model by applying some materials to it. I want to apply two materials to this. I want to have just a white material, for example, for the plant pot, but for the soil I want something that's going to be quite dark, almost black. What that means is that we're going to apply two materials to the same object. So we start off by applying a material to the entire object. So I'm going to the material tab there, and I click on new, and we just apply a standard default white material to the entire object. And then for the second material that we're going to use, which is for the soil, we need to create a material slot here, and then we go right ahead and create that dirty soil color. So I'm going to take a very, very dark color there. And of course I've got to get rid of the shininess on this material, which is there by default, which means going to the specular section and turning down the settings to a minimum. And when we've done that, it's time to apply that second material, and to do that we need to select the appropriate face. So I've got to go to edit mode and select that face. It's already selected from last time in there. As you can see, it's got this white material on it. All I do is switch to the other material slot and click assign, and that applies that second material there. And I'll come out of edit mode, and that's what it looks like. It's not a brilliant model, but it's enough to give you the idea of how you can use edit mode to do various types of modeling and assign different materials to different parts of an object.